right, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our part 2 of the Warhammer 2C. If you haven't watched part 1, you're going to want to go back and do that, because in that one we reviewed one of the greatest mechs in the game, I think, the Warhammer 2C 11. And then we went ahead and reviewed about half of the Warhammer 2C variants. That's going to be the Warhammer 2C, the 2C2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6. In this episode, we're going to review the other Warhammer 2C I ran in my Salvage Slam list, and that's the Warhammer 2C8, as well as the 7, 9, 10, 12, and 13. So again, if you haven't seen that, go to the link below or go into my catalog of videos and check out that former video on the Warhammer 2C11. Otherwise, let's jump into probably my second favorite Warhammer 2C of all times, and that's going to be the 2C8. 45 points, size 4, battle mech with a TMM of 2 and a movement of 10. It's 440 is its damage profile with an OV of 2. It's got 11 total health, and it is very armor forward at 7 armor and the remaining 4 in structure. Special abilities are case and heat 2, 2, 2, which is why you take this thing, honestly. For 45 points, this thing is pretty fantastic. You're getting a size 4 mech that can just punch. He also has a TMM of 2, so even though his HP is a little low, that TMM of 2 really helps him survive and pushes him over, kind of over the limits there for survivability. You know, the other Warhammers that are only TMM 1, they're sitting around 14 health, which is 3 more than this. But that TMM 2, man, that's probably adding at least feels like you're getting 14, if not 15 or 16 health out of this thing. This kind of all goes into the pros. I know I kind of skipped over that. So the speed, of course, and the TMM is what we're talking about, and this is great. That movement of 10 is also awesome because those 2 extra inches, you know, really help him truck along. 15 on the sprint really helps him get into position, and he can keep up with your other like big skirmishers you might have. So if you're looking at pairing him with like a couple of 40-point heavies or juggernauts, the big assault mechs that are speed 10, that I personally really like to latch onto, or even some of the, you know, the heavies that are in that 30-point range. He can keep up with them. He's not just a support piece in the back. He's really getting in there and mixing it up. He's also crit resistant. He's got the case, which is really, really nice. And then he's armor forward. So you're probably going to take maybe 1 critical throughout the game. It's either going to be an internal hit on that structure at some point, or you're, you know, because of the amount of health he has, you probably might pull a critical hit off at some point. But he is going to be able to weather those crits, and he's going to be resistant to that, which is super, super, super nice. And then, of course, the best pro he has is his heat 2, 2, 2. So even at long range, he can drop some heat in. He's, you know, helping cripple your opponent's mechs, or he's helping just totally wipe the floor with your opponent's vehicles and infantry, throwing out that additional 2. And then for what it's worth, that OV2, you know, can help him, you know, go out in a very big nuclear kind of way, right? So that can be kind of nice. I'm not a huge fan of using OV. I think it's just too detrimental to your mech. And OV1's kind of a joke. But when you get into 2 and 3 OV, it can be nice as a nuclear option at some point. The cons in this is that you are paying up for those 4 shots at medium, right? Personally, I like to be at 10 points or less per shot at medium range, and he's only at 4. Now you have to kind of asterisk this because you do get 2 heat out of those 4 shots. And so it to me, that kind of bumps it up over the line into that territory of sub 10, because you're getting that little extra spice, you know, and especially if you're attacking vehicles or infantry, you know, you can do up to 6 damage across your dice rolls. But you are a little low there. And then even though I talked about how that 11 HP at TMM2 can feel like you have a lot more health than the TMM1 max. You've got that speed. It would be nice if it was like a 12, right? It's better than a lot of other like 40-point assaults and heavies that are in this like TMM2 move 10 category that are in that 40 to 50 point range, say 45 points, right? And so it is a little more, but there are some times when I've played this thing and you're just like, ooh, he's a little light on the HP, especially with how I feel like aggressive you want to run this thing. And that's going to get into our philosophy of use. He's an aggressive terror tool. Um, I really like to push him in there and just start flaming stuff and putting the hurt on. He can really, like I said, cripple opponents' mechs in a very quick and efficient way. He might be a candidate to skill down. I'm not sure it's a lot of points, but to really make those heat more reliable, um, he's going to draw a lot of attention to himself, and this is probably why I kind of want his HP to be a little higher. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it'd be nice because he does have a tendency to draw attention, but you can also use that to your advantage when you're fighting your opponents. But he will absolutely cook if you let him. The other thing is he's just this like high T like terror weapon. He's got a lot of going for him with that speed and that TMM, and then those extra damage. And he's bringing something to your list that you don't really get out of just mechs that shoot regular ammunition. And having the heat too is really, really nice because if you miss with one heat and you connect with another, well, suddenly your opponent's mech's got heat on them, or infantry's toast, or the tanks are toast. So it'd be really, really, really nice having him in your list. He pairs really well, I think, with a more mobile list. I think you want to support him with like a couple other TMM2 move 10 units, whether that's an Ostol or an Ostrak. Maybe that big beefy Charger or the Blackhawk KU that I really like. Those are really good pairings with him just because you can kind of tag team and be in there while one is hitting with 5 damage or 4 damage. He can be in there hitting with his 4, but also crippling your opponent. As far as models go, they have an actual CGL does not have an actual model. Sorry, Ironwind Metals does. It's the one on the screen, and it looks really great. I mean, the thing just looks like it's totally equipped out with like the most aggressive flamethrowers ever. It might be hard to see in the pick I have because I painted mine up as a Death Commando, and so it's pretty dark. But he's got some pretty aggressive looking weapon systems on him, and he looks so good. It's such a good metal model. Like, as far as metal models goes, it's probably one of the best ones Ironwind Metal has. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the variants real quick. So variants, we're going to talk about the 2C7, the Warhammer 2C7. It's 46 points, TMM1. It's a move of 8 with a jump of 12, which is pretty nice. For 46 points. He is 544 with an OV of 3. He is a little light. He's only got 10 hit points, so he's a 6-4 on his hit points. He's case cargo transport 2, so I guess you for what it's worth. He's got ECM, OVL, and jump strong. Now, he is a little light on that medium range attack at 4, but to be honest with you, I think he's not that bad. He's bringing an OV3 for what it's worth. You're going to shut yourself down if those all go off. So, but you can get up to like 7 with that. What's really nice is that 12 move and that jump strong, and he is bringing ECM and case, so he's crit resistant. He can get that jump strong off, so he's harder to hit. He's got a move of 12, which is really nice, and he can shut down C3 networks. And ultimately, he's got a long range of 4, which is not. It's not the end of the world. I don't know that you're going to be like banking on him as a sniper necessarily, but you have like a volume of dice there that can be brought into play. And you could, I guess you could OV3 that long range 4 into a long range 7, shut yourself down for 1 turn, and then come back into the fight and just, pray that you don't get destroyed while you're shut down, but like do some initial damage. I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that, to be honest with you, but he's a nice option. I don't know that I'd like run him all the time, but I think it'd be fun to play around with this Warhammer 2C7. The Warhammer 2C9, 62 points. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot of points there. He's TMM2, movement 10, 775. So he's definitely like in that bread and butter zone as far as damage goes. He's got volume at long range of 5, which is nice. So you might want to stand back with him for a little bit, although that movement makes you want to like throw him in there, right? But he's got a medium range of 7, which is like, greasing the wheel of damage, just dropping 7 shots for 62 points. Now he is a little light on the health, in my opinion, for what you're paying at 62 points. So he's got just 11 hit points, but it's like even more armor forward than the 8. So he's got 8 armor and he's got 3 structure. So, and then he's got case and ECM and IF1 for whatever purpose that IF is there for. The ECM is nice because, someone's going to probably want to close with him if they've got C3 and try to take him out because of that volume of shooting. He is like very resistant. You're probably not going to take a crit with him, to be honest with you, unless someone gets a through armor crit. It's a little, you'd want to see like probably 2 more hit points for that point value. That's paying more than 60, but because his shots are so high, that's probably going to push you up into like the no-go zone as far as paying it. It would be fun to run this thing and see how it does, right? That 7 at medium and that 5 at long is like super attractive. It's got no OV for what it's worth, which I don't think is that big of a deal, but it would be interesting to try him out and just see like how does that 775 do with that speed, because you can really push in there with this. You're just you're chewing up a lot of your points at 62. You have to keep that in mind, but it is more point efficient than a lot of other stuff because you're getting that sub 10 at medium. So I think it's an interesting variant that I think has some play in some lists. Probably the Warhammer 2C10, 50 points. We're back to TMM1, move of 8. It's 664, and he's an OV of 1. He has 14 total hit points, 8 and 6 is his profile there. So armor 8, structure 6, case and SRM 1 if you're playing with SRM special rules. So a little more crit resistant, but also a lot of bodies. So you're probably going to take a couple crits over the course of a game with him if he's getting shot. I do really like that he is 6 at medium for 50 points. You've got a lot of Atlases out there that are like 5.52, and he's bringing more. He's bringing 6.64. You're just losing some health. I think I'd rather have this than the Atlas on most days. But 6 points at sub 50 is really great. He also has a volume at long range of 4, so you can like probably reach out and hit someone for 1 or 2 long range points of damage before the engagement starts. So I don't think he's terrible. Personally, I don't know that it really fits my style of play. Like for the point cost, I think still would rather have like the 11 for 2 points less. That 11, you lose all your long range. We get your extra shots at medium. I like throwing 7, and I feel like you might be spending just a couple more extra points to get the long range damage that may or may not come into play. But I do think he is an attractive option. And it would be interesting, again, just like a lot of these Warhammer 2Cs, to push them around the table and see what happens. The 2C12 is 53 points. It's a TMM of 2 movement of 10. And this is probably why you're paying 53 points for it, because it's got that extra mobility over the base model 2Cs. It's a 5.53. So you're paying just a little bit more for that medium damage, or like on that just points. It's an OV2. I don't know that getting OV2 and long range 3 is worth it to only have 5 shots at medium on this thing. He is very crit resistant, though. He's got a total of 8 armor and 3 structure and case. And he has ECM and FR, which I'm blanking real quick on what FR means. So if you guys remember what FR is, put it in the comment below. It's got to be some like special resistant armor or something, right? I think it would be fine to run him. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be fine to run him. If I had to choose between, say, him and the 8, I'm going to take the 8 all day, because I'd rather be dropping heat than dropping those long range shots. And and getting that extra 1 shot at medium. I think having 4 at medium with the heat is better than 5 at medium, to be honest with you. But if you needed some ECM, like, I don't think it'd be terrible. And he does have a good amount of movement, and that TMM is up. Our last variant is the 2C13. The Warhammer 2C13 is 51 points. TMM of 1, movement of 8, 7, 7, 5. Oh boy. And an OV of 3. The drawback to you, I mean, this is really nice, right? Like, we'll get into his armor structure in a second, but 51 points for 7 shots at medium. You're getting into the part that we really like about the 2C11, but you're also picking up a long range 5 and an OV of 3. So you can get, you can be throwing 10 dice at medium if you really need to, like, just nuke something off the board, or 8 dice at long if you really want to, like, beat the bejesus out of someone's mech opening move. Now, the downside to that is he's only got 10 hit points. So if your opponent's even borderline smart, he's not going to let this thing live. Like, TMM1 move 8 mech with 10 total health hit points, even if it is 6-4 armor forward with case. Like, I'm not letting this thing, like, see turn 2 personally. And by turn 3, if you've let this thing live, like, you're probably losing and you've made a mistake. Like, you'd have to be really cagey and really protective of this thing. You'd have to play it in such a way that didn't initially draw attention to itself, and in a way where he can, like, limit the incoming fire, because he's going to be a BULLET magnet, right? But again, like many of these Warhammer 2Cs, it'd be fun to play around with this thing. Like, I think, like, there would be an element of this thing that would, like, surprise your opponent. Like, your opening round, you're like, I'm rolling 10 dice, OV3, shut it down, and just, like, blast something to oblivion. Or not throw the OV and just be like, here's 5 dice and now 7 dice. Like, I think it would be fun. That's the last of the models. Like I said, I really like the Warhammer 2C. It's so good. I think you want to, like, go on the internet and, from, like, Mech Pusher or any of the single mech sellers, just go buy like 15 of them and just have them laying around in your mech box, ready to paint up, because I think they can fit in a lot. There's so many options, and they're so good. They can fit in so many forces, and they're pretty ubiquitous. Like, and there's good ones out there for most factions. Like, you just be ready. They're definitely, like, sometimes you get into the 2C models and you're not sure if it's necessarily an upgrade over, like, the base Intersphere model, but man, these Warhammer 2Cs really slap, and it's awesome. Little channel update. I try to post every Saturday morning now, and it is a bit of work to do that. For those of you who don't know, I am a farmer. We're going into harvest, so I'm going to try to pre-do a couple videos and get some stuff in the can for October. But October is, like, the busy time of the year. My family doesn't even really see me. And so in October, if I don't hit every Saturday, I apologize in advance. I will try to make it up to you in November. And hopefully I can get back to doing some train reviews, some list breakdowns, and some like tactics videos again, and some of the mission stuff, because I really enjoy doing those things, but summer kind of got away from me, and we've really just been reviewing kind of mechs and some models and things like that. And we got KSAC coming up, and KSAC is going to be so awesome. I think they have well over 100 people at this point, so if you haven't registered, you need to go do that and get your bad selves up to Minneapolis, Minnesota for that event. I am currently on my paint station desk. I've got my Word of Blake army, like, assembled, and it's pretty rewarding that I've actually had time to put it together. And it's the army I'm going to use in doubles. I'm not sure if I'm going to play in singles. We'll see how it goes. I'm also helping, like, some buddies run some events and helping with the event itself. But if I do play singles, I'm also going to play Word of Blake, and it'll probably just be my doubles list, and I'll add on to that to make a singles list, and that I'll try to show you the thought process behind the doubles list that I made, why I made it, and then I'll show you in another video how I expanded that to a singles list and how I break it down by the missions. So again, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. I had a lot of you comment on the last video on the Warhammer 2C and how awesome it was. You're probably going to feel the same way about this one. I know a lot of you guys run this. Leave a comment below, subscribe, like, and may the blessings of Blake be upon you.